Good afternoon, everybody. This morning, Secretary Napolitano announced new actions my administration will take to mend our nation's immigration policy, to make it more fair, more efficient, and more just, specifically for certain young people, sometimes called dreamers.
5 years, nearly 800,000 undocumented young people have been able to live in the U.S. without constant fear of deportation. That's all thanks to DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program.
Every day, nearly 600,000 people in the United States live with the fear that at any moment their lives as they know it could abruptly end. In the United States, since its inception in 2012, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA, has given more than 800,000 dreamers who entered the U.S. as children temporary paperwork to live and work here for 2 years at a time. These are people who got here and know no other country but the United States.
The DACA policy has allowed unauthorized immigrants who arrived in the U.S. as children to live and work in the country legally without fear of deportation.
Hello, my name is Eden Reyes Valencia. I am a DACA recipient, and this is my journey. What it means to be a DACA recipient is that I can study, I can work, all within legal parameters. I can only do this until I am 35. After 35, I will have either found a way to become a citizen or I will have to be deported back to my country. The threat of being sent back to Mexico is one that makes me angry, because not only do I consider myself American, I am Americanized. I'm a black sheep here and in Mexico. While I would be surrounded by my culture and what I would consider my people as well, I've grown up in American culture. I wouldn't fully assimilate. To some degree, I'd always long to be here. My childhood in Mexico was very short, so I don't remember much of it there. But we did spend a few years in Baja California, which is a territory of Mexico. It's right underneath the state of California. What I remember from my journey to the US is walking a lot and using nature to cover ourselves. And I remember Border Patrol having dogs with titanium teeth, one of which happened to bite my dad on the foot, and that scar is still there to this day.
I've been hearing about DACA for so many years. Some people call it dreamers. It's not dreamers. Don't fall into that trap. It's just much different than dreamers. And I said the other night, we have dreamers too. We have dreamers in this country too. We can't forget our dreamers. I have a lot of dreamers here.
Being a DACA recipient has always had an additional burden on my personal relationships. Previously, one of my partners thought that I was only with them for paperwork. Knowing a past partner thought that I was using them kind of sucks. I mean, we previously met when I was 14, 15. I was just a kid. I wouldn't think of planning in the future of using them and just, that being a stepping stone for my life. It's inconceivable to me. I just wanted to be a kid just like anybody else. It definitely did make future relationships difficult. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know, even if I did trust people, how they would react to me saying I was a DACA recipient, or how they would react to the people around me. It was honestly hard to judge. I wish people knew that being a DACA recipient means I have more to lose in every aspect of my life, and there's a burden that I will never be able to get rid of individually. Not knowing whether or not your partner may be deported, it's never a situation where you can be completely stress-free. You're always worried about one thing or another impacting whether or not you can stay in the country. Knowing my existence can stop here at any moment is frightening. Knowing I could lose relationships, I'll never be able to see friends, family, not knowing when I'd be able to see them again, not knowing what would happen to the life I've created here. It's honestly terrifying. The way it's impacted myself and the way I view myself has always been a hurdle. I always feel like there's somebody watching over me, like something on my back, having to look over my shoulder. The only pathway to citizenship that I currently have is to go through marriage. The military option is no longer viable simply due to the fact that previous DACA recipients went to the military and served to become citizens, got deported immediately after for one reason or another. So many got deported that now in the city of Juarez, there is a veteran parade to celebrate themselves because the US failed them miserably. Advice I would give to other DACA recipients is to make sure you have a well-established foundation for your relationships and for them to see you as a human rather than just your status. Making sure that you understand where you are currently and what you plan to do in the future, and to just be as law-abiding as possible, considering that any misstep, and we have more to lose. Some of the things that I have to lose if I am unable to become a citizen, I'll lose access to my current studies and future studies. I'll lose access to friendships. During the deportation process, I can lose my parents and we could be shipped out to different places that I don't know about. My long-term relationship with my partner, and if by any chance I have kids, the ability to see them.
Now, the question is, can Congress do what it hasn't been able to do in over a decade? That's pass legislation to protect dreamers. Dreamers say they're watching with a mix of anxiety and fear, not sure of whether they need to start preparing for the possibility of deportation or a lifetime in the United States.